In this graph, the yellow bar in the center represents the average temperature of the 20th century from 1900 to the year 2000. As such, you can see during the period of, say, around 1940 to the late 1970s, there are years where the mean global temperature is above the average and others that are beneath the average. And this is what you would expect. This is what an average means. And so in the middle of the graph, it truly seems that the average sometimes has years above it or beneath it. If this entire time period had temperatures like this, it would seem that global temperature was not changing. There was no trend in these temperatures, but simply variation around a mean. While the middle of this graph seems to depict variation around an average, the two extreme portions of this graph do not. From the year 1900 to the year 1939, all of the mean global temperatures fall below the average of the 20th century values. So the first portion of the century was colder than the century overall. That's why all of these bars are depicted in blue. They are beneath the 20th century average. At the other extreme of this graph, one sees a very different trend. In that 1976 was the last year where the mean global temperature for that year fell below the 20th century average. Since 1977, all years have had a mean temperature for that year higher than the 20th century average. This has continued after the year 2000 until the present. And so thus the red bars indicate that in the past several decades, all years have been warmer than the average that would be predicted by the values of the 20th century. Thus, while there is variation in the global mean temperature from year to year, and there are times where colder years follow warmer years and vice versa, there nevertheless seems to be a clear trend on the time period from the year 1900 to the present, with the global climate becoming gradually warmer, and with all recent years being warmer than the 20th century average.